Okay.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, once again, we have an amazing moment here that we get to share with Agnes Vivarelli and Crazy Dan Radio Style are here to talk some good stuff with you. Agnes, how you doing?
Good, Dan. Good to see you, as
nice
always.
to see you. I know. It's like I haven't seen you for the last 30 minutes.
Exactly.
Yeah, we maybe chit-chat a little before we go live. But that being said, so today we kind of wanted to cover a couple things, actually. One of them, we want to get into the concept of, and I'm going to put it in sort of illustrate it in this way, and I'm going to let Agnes kind of speak on it. And it is the example of how much time should people continue to do like this, the affirmations or the imaginal work, or how long should we keep doing it? And kind of my example, I guess, we're using made up numbers again, of course, but if I do this an hour a day, and then if I do that, I'll get my person in roughly about 2 months. So does that mean if I do this 2 hours a day, should I get my person in maybe a month? So again, I'm wondering, does it matter if we do it a whole bunch more? Does it matter if we do it, just a few times? At what point do you let go? Goddard talks about that. So you've got all these different kind of gray areas around this. And I think a lot of people would benefit from your thoughts on how long we should continue this. What do you think?
It's a good question. I think, you hear so often when people are talking about law of attraction, you just set your intention once, you visualize once or twice, and then you let it go. And for some people, that genuinely works. I find in my personal experience, I have to do things repeatedly through visuals, imagining with my imaginal eyes, using my imaginal sound, hearing people's voices, hearing congratulations, hearing, the kookaburra bird in Australia, whatever it is, hearing the sounds that anchor me to that scene. So in my personal experience, I've manifested things within 5 days to 3 years. That's been my personal bracket of how long it takes to manifest it. How long did I do the stuff in advance? I would do it sometimes for a week every night. Other times I would do it solidly for 2 or 3 weeks, just 5 minutes, 10 minutes every night. And then I might not do it for 2 months. So it's kind of stop and start, stop and start.
So what do you think is one of the things that would help someone gauge? Like, am I at a place where I should do some more I've let go for a couple months, like you were saying in your example. And then it's like, what kinds of things would maybe help indicate to someone that I should probably start doing it again? Maybe I need to get back into it. Maybe I need to refresh this. What are some of the things that you think would indicate that, a healthy indications, I guess, would probably be a better way to state it, but maybe even unhealthy?
Well, if you start dropping into longing for whatever it is that you want.
Okay.
That would be the first thing. And also, if you start thinking about how's it going to happen?
Oh, yeah.
As soon as you go into how's it going to happen, what that tells me is you don't have acceptance that it's done.
Right.
So it means...
Or you want to micromanage, one of the two, right?
You want to micromanage,
yeah.
Or you don't believe in your conscious creation.
Right. Or you're not worthy of it, maybe, or, I agree. Because I bless you, salud, ibai sui, avu sway. I think you say it in that way in French, right?
Sway,
yeah. I maybe said it poorly, but you said atu sway, huh? I said avu. I guess that's more proper, right?
To say. Yeah.
I'm using the formal you. I apologize. Yeah. I should atu sway. Anyways.
Very good,
salute.
Dan.
Yeah, well, I've learned it, bless you, in a few languages. If for a woman, Butsarova in Russian. I know a few. I've learned that because I always thought it would be really cool, and I worked with a bunch of people from different nationalities, and being able to try to say bless you or some form of that in their language, I thought was cool.
You are always a surprise with
I'm a weirdo. I know.
Bits of information. That's cute. Very cute.
Well, thank you. Well, anyway, bless you for that matter. Yeah. But I've definitely been very one to kind of try to get people not to worry about the now as well. It's something that needs to kind of work itself out. I find when we get looking at trying to make it happen, one, I think we tend to miss things that might be important because we're so focused going that way, but over here's where we need to go. And so that can cause problems with it. So I agree. That's a great one. When you're really worried about the now, then you probably, like you said, should get back into the imaginal work, the affirmations, maybe the focus wheel or whatever.
Yeah. And, Dan, the more I do this stuff, the more I understand at deeper levels of understanding that it's not about getting to where your thing is. It's about enjoying this moment here and now and finding the peace in it, because we are so not at peace in the human race. We're not.
No, right now especially. We're so divided right now.
Yeah, we're divided. We're dissatisfied. We're looking at what's wrong. We've always find something to be
upset about.
Upset about, or what's the word?
Offended?
Offended by,
Yeah. That offends me, by the way, Agnes.
Yeah, I knew it would.
When you say that, yeah. Anyway, no, I agree. Yeah. And I think there needs to be a lot more of that, like, one, enjoying the now, but two, like, kind of spread, like, we want love in our life. You want to get your specific person. Well, a lot of times they say, emitting love is a great way to do that. And one way you can do that is by loving others, or trying to at least be kind to others, and that sort of does help propagate good things back to you.
It does. And in the light of what you and I just talked about behind the scenes about working too much, and it's that thing that I've realized in the last probably 2 months, that due to the nature of this kind of work, being on YouTube, and then things growing and getting busier and busier, that you have to protect your own balance, meaning your downtime, your work time, your hobby time, your self-care time. And that is something that, whether you're totally unsuccessful, medium successful, or probably extremely successful, you've got to try and keep the balance so that you are feeling good today.
Absolutely. And to even kind of try to drive this point home to people that aren't doing YouTubes, but understand when we're trying to manifest, all of us, right? And maybe you've got a lot of extra stresses going on in your life and you don't necessarily notice it. Maybe work stress is starting to rise. Maybe the kids constantly being a little challenged and you don't realize it. And it's like what Agnes and I were talking about. It's very similar to that concept that they say, putting a frog in cold water on the pot, right? And if you turn the heat on that way, the frog will just stay there until the water becomes hot and hotter and hotter, and eventually it dies, right?
Yeah.
But if you try to throw a frog in hot water, it's going to jump the heck out because it's so hot. So it's that concept where it creeps up on you and you start to go, oh, I didn't realize until I'm already snapping on people, and so it is, like you said, you really have to find that balance in life, that balance between how much time, one, we're going to try to manifest and how much time we're going to actually enjoy right now. And, and try to get our energy in a good place to get to that place. So,
I ask myself regularly, am I at peace? And the answer is either yes or no.
Yeah, true.
So if I'm not at peace, why not? It's because I am tired. It's because I've given out too much. It's because I haven't been out to exercise. It's because I haven't eaten enough or I've eaten too much. So I ask myself that question so I can bring myself back to balance.
Right.
When I do that, I'm much, much better at, one, being creative, and two, just being in my optimum state just for my own self for that hour, for that half a day, for that whole day.
Right. Now, so you still haven't really told people about your mixed martial arts career. So that's when we're talking tired, you're not referring to your last cage fight match, right? That's not, so if we're not, I just want to make sure. So no, it's because she's busy with YouTubes. Sorry. She's not actually a cage fighter. I made that up. That's not true.
You weren't supposed to mention that. It was.
I didn't know if it was. I didn't know if it was real yet. I didn't know if you told people. I didn't know. I'm sorry. We might have to edit that out. We'll see. So people should only keep kind of going at it. You think kind of if they get to that place where maybe they're starting to have doubts, or maybe they're questioning the process, maybe they're maybe it just makes them feel better. I don't. Are there maybe, and maybe examples I just gave might fall into this category, but are there maybe cases where there's you would tell people to be mindful or be cautious if this is where you're at. Maybe it's more of a self-love thing, or maybe it's more of because I think that distinction might be hard sometimes for people too. So curious what the almighty Agnes Vivarelli has to say.
I didn't even catch what
I love you. I can't even. Well, the question is
what's the
is
question?
there, when people are trying to do this, they're maybe they took 2 months off, right?
Yes.
And they're wondering if they need to get back into it. Are there maybe negative paths that sometimes people say, oh, I need to work on the affirmations and the manifesting, the imagining more. But are there like negative ones where you would say, well, maybe actually that sounds more like self-love. So I don't think you should so much be worried about trying to manifest the SP right now as much as trying to get yourself in a good place, because you seem to have a lot of negativity. Maybe you're self-doubt. Maybe you find yourself being grumpy about a lot of different things going on around you, like we were talking about, where you get stressed. Yeah. And really at that point, trying to manifest your SP, maybe take a day off or two from that and get your energy good.
Exactly. And you know what? As soon as I see, whether it's a face-to-face with someone or an email or in the Q&As that I do, whatever it is, the contact I have with people around manifesting, as soon as I hear any kind of urgency, that tells me instantly that people's self-love is not in balance.
Now let's talk about that for a quick second, because I've mentioned that a bunch too, and to me that's an instant handbrake. To me, it's an instant handbrake. If the question out of your mouth is, "How can I do this faster?" And that was the purpose to my question. If I can do 1 hour a day and get her in 2 months, does that mean if I do 2 hours a day, that'll get her in 1 month?
Exactly.
Boom! Already, you just ripped up your handbrake. Yeah, you're done. You're sitting still.
Yeah, and what that says is, I know that love is over there. It's not over here with me. It's over there with that person, and I have to find out how to get over there quickly. That is a spiritual dis-ease.
Yes.
And it's completely distorted, and it's completely, you got your ladder up the wrong wall. Totally.
I love that phrase. Never heard that before, but that is awesome. Makes sense, right? What the hell's it up over there? The light's over here, bud. What are you doing?
That's, I love that. A ladder, and you've missed the whole thing about getting yourself in balance first. And this is the wonderful thing about having, if by chance you've got a specific person that you want, the specific person, because of the pain you're in of not being with them because they've walked away or they've left you.
Right, especially in a breakup scenario. Yes, absolutely.
You are then, and you do not believe this at the time because you're in a lot of pain, but you are in a very good position to finally dissolve and make peace with your own issues of I'm not loved and I'm not good enough. Because really, between every kind of breakup, those two things will come up.
Yep.
And that's you will feel it.
And you got to understand that obviously something caused the breakup. There was something there that caused a disharmony. And to think for 1 second that there's not things that need to be fixed in order to have a chance at a relationship again is missing the entire point of why you broke up to begin with.
Exactly.
And so absolutely very critical.
The person really is doing you such a favor that you are now forced to be with yourself, forced to love yourself. If you can stop all that external madness, obsession, addiction to try and get them back and actually look at yourself and deal with that. If you deal with that, you will become emotionally attractive again.
Yes. And that's why I keep kind of talking.
Because you're and unbearable.
Yeah, and that's why I've been talking a lot to my viewers, especially too, is it's really important for us to work on us. That is how we make this specific person come to us quicker, is by making ourselves as good as we possibly can, as quick as we possibly can.
Yeah.
And that's where I think a sense of urgency can certainly be nice, because it causes you to focus inward a bit more than you normally might. And once you get that part ironed out, oh man, things start falling into place. It literally just boom, 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 doors open, people walk out. Holy crap, how is my timing so perfect? It's amazing.
And if someone wants to leave you, you go, well, see you later. Don't let the door hit you on the way out, because I've still got me.
Yes, exactly.
Instead
I
of
love me
hanging on
enough.
to their ankles while
Amen.
they're trying to
Yeah.
slide you through the
And you say, I'm good with bringing imagery to it. That's awesome. Dragging them out the door. Come on, let go of me, woman.
Yeah.
Ah, that's so rad.
I mean, it's so, it's so common when you're desperate.
So this is a perfect place probably because I think we're getting towards the longer side. I want to hit your second part. And I think we talked on this subject really good, but I think this is a perfect place to segue into one of the more powerful processes. And I think maybe it's Goddard, but I want to let you kind of spin this one up because this was totally your thing that you brought to the table. And I don't want to ruin it. I don't want to take it away.
Come on, piggyback on it. I like it.
Oh, I'll piggyback. Sweet. Come on, girl, go. Yeah. All right, we got this. So one thing that's very powerful is the concept of assumption, a concept of assuming.
Yep.
And you were talking about how when the assumption or when you assume, you actually kind of create kind of more of a concrete kind of thing within our minds, I guess. I want to, is that kind of what you were?
Yeah, it was.
Give me the spin down that road.
Neville's comment, assumptions harden into fact. So you put your assumption out, and that could be, they don't love me. And then that
bad assumptions too. I didn't even think about that. I was thinking about good assumptions.
Yeah, I was going to do the good ones second.
Last, perfect.
But so they harden into fact. The person walks away from you because you've assumed I'm not good enough and they don't love me. So of course it has to harden into something, which is a big outline of where they used to be, and they're not there anymore. They're gone. So you can then change your assumption. I am loved and they love me, or just I am loved in general. And then someone appears and it hardens into fact. And that very thing of Neville Goddard's is such a simple thing. But we do not assume that other thing that we want. See, I had this thing. I'm going to give you a simple example. Mm-hmm. We so often think, and I hear this a million times a month via email, they didn't reply to my text. They didn't respond to my, and then I'm getting anxiety and I'm getting fear and I feel sick.
I hear this all the time too.
Yeah. So my question to the person that says that is, how many times have you had that thought? Oh yeah, probably at least 10, 15 today. Yep. Okay. So that is an old state of unloved, left behind, abandoned person. There's your
That's that old man, right? That you've talked about. Man. Yeah, because I keep having people throw that quote out there too. Yeah, I'm like, yes, the old man. That's right.
Yeah. So the new assumption to go over the top and replace that would be the thoughts of someone who is loved and has a good relationship. So why not think, why does this person call me all the time? They call me all the time. I need to do some work.
Right. Yeah, they're bugging me.
Have you had that thought? Never. Yeah. So that's the thought of a person who has someone that contacts them all the time. So that's the thought you need to practice 10 to 15, 20 times a day.
There you go.
That's the new assumption.
And the beautiful part about that too is even if you don't actually currently believe it, isn't it better to assume the better thing? Is it not? Even if you're wrong at first, keep assuming it, because who gives a crap? You're just making up your own mind. But then what you'll find is that your life starts to actually shape like your assumptions. Exactly. What you tend to believe, what you tend to assume, what you tend to expect from a situation oftentimes will manifest itself in your life. And it does. Like I said, when you get our energy good and you start kind of just playing these, like you start being a little more like assuming, I don't want to say positive, but that kind of, that's that
goes
same
with it. Yeah.
Around quotes, it's that whole general, just looking more in the things I'd like to experience versus things I don't want to experience.
Yeah.
And when you kind of live that way and you've got yourself figured out and ironed out, things fall into place. You literally could be walking down the sidewalk and your person could walk out of some business 2 doors down right as you're walking towards them. What are the odds? You'd be amazed what crazy stuff can happen. So I love the assumption thing.
It's interesting you say that, because there was a viewer that she was a viewer. She viewed my channel. I didn't know her. And yesterday, I'm in my local little tiny street.
And she recognized you?
Yeah.
That's awesome. I keep waiting. Like that's.
Forget this, Dan. She not only recognized me, I had a hat, I had a scarf on, I had a winter coat.
Yeah, it's like 1 degree, right?
Yeah, it was 1 degree. And I had I had 2 little packs of eggs, six in a box, and my maple syrup. I walked out of the shopping center. She walked straight out of the pharmacy, and I'd literally, if I was 2 seconds ahead or 2 seconds behind, we would have missed each other. And I hear her say, "Excuse me, are you Agnes Vivarelli?" And I went, "What the heck?" And I turned around and I'm thinking, I don't know this person because I don't really know anyone.
Yeah.
I keep to myself in London because I like working and I like being with my partner, and I like, my friends are in Sydney, so it's very social when I go there. But when I'm here, I get time alone.
There you go.
And we went and had a coffee. Anyway, this lovely young woman called Peggy, she said to me, "I've often thought how much I wanted to meet you." And I said, "You know what? I am more surprised than you are."
Yeah.
And it was so lovely. We spent an hour together, and she literally lives like 5 minutes away from me.
That's awesome.
And she said, "I knew you were in London, but I had no idea." I mean, London's a huge city. It takes like 3 hours to get from one side of it to the other. We were in the same spot because of her focus. It was one of those amazing moments. It was an amazing moment for me.
Well, and on top of that, and actually, like I was saying, like to me, that will be like the day where I realize my channel's actually gotten, because it's worldwide, right? So the idea of bumping into someone locally that knows me from my channel is outside of, like, again, we were talking about, like you said, believing or assuming things. And maybe I should assume. I should assume that all sorts of people are going to run into me. They're like, "Oh my God, you're DanRadio style." No way. And I'd be like, "How the hell did you find me?" Like, that's amazing.
I was so surprised because she manifested me, but it was the synchronicity of just walking out.
Yeah, the timing of it was just perfect. Yeah.
And she would have seen me just from the front for like a second, but because I was past her when she said my name.
And you're all movie starred up, you got a hat on, glasses, probably the big giant Elton John glasses, right? No one would know you from anywhere. That's awesome.
But it was so funny because it is exactly what we talk about. This is how manifestation occurs.
And that is, and there's someone people have talked about frequently, and I think Agnes falls into this category, but they talk about meeting famous people. And there you go. Yes, you can manifest meeting famous people. I'm doubtful this person, Peggy, was necessarily thinking about Agnes daily or all the time. I don't think it was anything like that per se. She probably just made an acclamation one day, or basically said, "I want to meet Agnes Vivarelli. It would be really awesome to meet her." And put things in motion at that point. Like I talk about frequently, higher selves, start chit-chatting back and forth to each other. All right, we're going to be here at this point. I made her drop her keys, so that stalled her 20 seconds. Like, do you think about all the things that had to happen perfectly for you two to meet on that exact second? It's amazing.
It is amazing. It is.
That's so people really, when you see that.
Yeah. And I stood at the maple syrup selection for about 3 minutes.
Right. Because like, which maple frickin' syrup do I want?
I had trouble, Dan. I had trouble.
I can understand that. That's a difficult decision that no one should have to make alone. That's for sure. I hope you had help. I feel a tear forming right now, frankly. It's just, oh my God, we have to change the subject. I can't. I can't even imagine you had to do that alone, sweetheart. That's so sad. Ladies and gentlemen,
next time I'll Skype you and you can help me.
Please. Yes, I'll be there with you. We'll do this together, Agnes. Let me hold your hand, at least via your phone.
There you go.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, it has been another amazing show, and I think we actually covered some really, really cool stuff on this, and I hope people, enjoy and get some good action out of it. Yes, it's huge. I assume everybody is going to love this show. You're right. That's what I should have been saying too. They're going to love it.
You're so smooth, Dan.
Thank you. You like that? You like how I just transitioned out of that hole I dug myself fire?
You did good.
That's how you change it, right? When you got a bad thought, you just spin another good thought. That's all you got to do.
I do like your bad thoughts. It brings you.
Oh, my bad thoughts are horrible, aren't they? I know. The things that we could not ever air on this channel, there'd be no ways to monetize. Absolutely.
No. That's the pre-show conversation.
I so wish I could spin off a separate, where they wouldn't judge us per se.
Bloopers.
Yeah, because we do spiritual stuff, but then on top of that, we are normal people that drop F-bombs when we stub our toes. So
yes, exactly.
It is part of life, man.
That's true. That's true.
Yes, I love you. You're the best. We will definitely get together, of course, in a month. So we'll do that.
We
And
will.
until our next show, I bid you adieu.
Sounds good, Dan.
Alrighty.
I'll stop recording and we'll have our
Yes,
post chat.
our post chat. Exactly.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.